Well, good morning or good afternoon, whatever time it is that you're listening to this program. And today, from Succeed from the Start, we're talking to Eilir Jones, and I may not have pronounced that right, but he can tell us in a minute. And I'm talking to him because he's speaking at our Manchester conference, We Thrive Together. If you've seen it being advertised, you'll know it's all about family and relationships. Now, Eilir is an expert in mental health and helping people. Well, actually, I'm going to ask him. Eilir, how would you pronounce or how would you describe what you do?
Well, in my counselling sessions, I go along with what people bring me, essentially. I don't prescribe to any one thing. I think an eclectic approach works better than just one approach. I don't think one approach fits all because we're all so different. So how can one approach fit everybody? So that's why I like to have several tools in the bag that I help other people learn so that they can help to manage their own emotions in the end.
So what would your person coming to you, what would your sort of normal client, I mean, I say normal because as you've just said, there isn't one size fits all. So it's not like the exact same person is going to walk through the door to see you, but what might somebody approach you for help with?
It can, like you've said, it can vary from bereavement to trauma to general anxiety, to depression, post-traumatic stress. So parenting comes in a lot,
Right.
because it's all tied in with relationships and how we interact with each other and the effect those has on us, and how we deal with them. So
kind of like normal, everyday, today's stresses, anxieties, worries that actually a lot of people have, but maybe don't feel that comfortable of telling anybody. It's quite difficult, isn't it, to tell people how you feel?
yeah, it's very difficult. And a lot of people come in quite nervous.
Mm.
And then once they realize I don't bite, it's okay again. And they, you ask a few questions, a few open questions, and usually in the first session, it's quite a tsunami of information that comes flying at you. And then it's my job to kind of pick bits and make sense of it for the person.
So what took you into this line of work?
When I was in my early 20s, I was mugged. So that was nice. And the post-traumatic stress of that and the flashbacks and things essentially changed my personality from being who I am now again to being quite an angry, aggressive, snappy, not very nice person, basically. And then my mum said, oi, I don't know who you are anymore. Sort it out. So that's what it is. I went to the GP, got some counselling, and I really enjoyed that process. Basically, I could see what she was doing. I could see why she was asking these questions, why she was making me go and do these things. I was like, light bulb go bing, bing, bing. And it just caught me. I actually enjoyed the process of learning and growing. And so yeah, and I just carried that on. I gave it a break of a couple of years, and then I was plumbing, which was fine. But then I thought, do you know what? This isn't going to be me for the rest of my life. So I'm gonna do a couple of night classes. So that's what I did. So I did the basic counselling skills, then the intermediate one. Then I did a course in transaction analysis. Then I went to do the diploma. And I've been doing counselling for over a decade now, and it still catches me, still captures me every day. It's a lovely reason to get up in the morning, basically.
So obviously it's very clear that you enjoy what you do, and that must be as well because you enjoy seeing the results that you help people get.
Yeah. There's nothing nicer than seeing the difference. So people come in and they're really nervous and they're really tense and they don't really know what they want to say and what they want to get out of the session, and they're really sort of they're wrapped up in their own little worlds, and it's usually quite a negative world that they're stuck in. And so seeing them become unstuck, seeing them become understanding of what's going on and having power over it, well, flipping heck, that's where it's at. And seeing that body language change from to okay, I've got this now.
Yeah.
That's where it's at for me.
No, I can imagine that. And I have to say too, if you're watching this later, it's one of the reasons why we've asked Eilir to come and speak at our conference, because of that enthusiasm. But also, Eilir, I see a gentleness, but there's a power in what you're saying, but it comes across very gently. There's no judgment. There's no negativity in your body language or how you speak. So you make people feel safe. That's what I saw. That's what I recognized. And it's one of the reasons why we wanted you to speak. So what is it that you're going to be speaking on in Manchester?
In the first bit, I'm going to be talking about fight or flight, essentially, because that underpins all of our behaviours. If you don't understand about fight or flight, then you can't see the wood for the trees. Because without knowing that information to begin with, you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about fight or flight. And then in the workshops, I'm going to be talking about our triggers and how external triggers affect us. But the thing that usually triggers us more often is our own internal triggers, our own thoughts, that things that just the thought can trigger us off into our fight or flight, which fires off our amygdala, that turns off our prefrontal cortex behind your forehead here. And so your ability to think calmly, rationally, logically, methodically, to be able to problem solve, to be able to get yourself out of the situation. Well, that part of your brain switched off when you're in your panic. So we need to. So in the workshop, we're gonna learn how to bring you back down again. How to. Okay. Now we're back in the room, and once you've brought yourself back down, your prefrontal cortex comes back on. That means you're able to problem solve better. You're able to think your way through the problem better, to be able to come up with a plan and a solution to that problem that triggered you off into your fight or flight.
So really, I mean, this kind of approach could be appropriate for so many different people, couldn't it? You're talking, the teenager who's completely getting snowed under with work at school, maybe relationships at home aren't so good. Maybe it's the parent who's actually struggling because of things that they're seeing in their children's lives, or their behavior. Could be hangovers from COVID, couldn't it? I think.
COVID is massive, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it has amplified what was already there. So if you were already slightly anxious, then COVID, because anxiety is quite a spreading phenomenon. If a person in your family is quite anxious, then you worry about that person, which makes you anxious. Then other people worry about you, extended family members worry about that other person. So if everybody can learn how to manage their anxiety differently and put it into a perspective, because anxiety and fight or flight should be for life and death stuff. It shouldn't be for the stuff that we worry about. Using it incorrectly. It should be for survival stuff, not for exams and bills and the smaller things that we worry about these days. It's not for any of that, really. It's supposed to be for life and death stuff. So if we can teach our kids that kind of perspective and help them bring them down, that shared knowledge and that shared experience and helping them bring them down, doing it with them, can help the attachment, can help the bonding of a family. Because it's like, okay, as a parent, you'd say, okay, I can see we're all really annoyed here now. Let's just do something different, because if we keep doing the same thing, we're going to get the same results, isn't it? So come on, let's give this a go. Come here. Let's do some breathing together. Let's do some other bits and bobs together so that we can bring ourselves back down. Then we can talk about the problem. Prefrontal cortex.
So everybody's starting off from a stronger place. The issue hasn't necessarily gone away, but the reaction to it and the struggle with it is, well, it becomes smaller, it becomes manageable.
Yeah.
And then, of
And-
course, you know, it's not just to do with parents and children, is it? It's to do with, it could be just couples in a relationship. It could be to do with work situations. It could be to do with really something from the past where a parent in years ago could have left you with something that is sitting there and you just don't know how to deal with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, you've said it all there. That's really true.
So really, if you're able to come to the conference, it's in Manchester. It's on November the 25th and the 26th. Eilir is actually one of our speakers there, and he will be working very practically. So there's a workshop you can go to where he will take you through some of these steps to help you have practical tools really in your workbox, you know, that you can dip into and help you to control various parts, the way that you react, and also then move forward from, rather than being stuck over and over again in a never-ending cycle. So do come along, come and listen. Eilir is one of 8 speakers that will be speaking at the conference, and then we also have myself and Vicky as hosts. We also will be sharing some of our experiences. For myself, it will be helping with, if you suspect that someone in your family is affected by coercive control, if there's a relationship going on and you just can't get in there and you're worried, that's the subject I'll be covering, and we'll talk about that in another time. But it's a value-packed 2 days full of practical action-taking steps that you can go away with that are going to empower your family, your relationships to go stronger, to last longer, to be more effective, to be more just part of your life, so that you can move forward and enjoy every step of the way. So do come and join us. You'll find the link below this conversation, and we would love to see you there. Thanks very much, Eilir, for coming along and talking to us about the event.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.